Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. I'm Jen Rose. I am a professional psychic medium. And today we are going to dive into a topic that is often controversial, often heated in debates, and it's also really important to talk about, and that's cold reading. So, cold reading is a technique that is used many times by mentalists or illusionists, performers of that nature, and sometimes even skeptics to mimic a real psychic or mediumship reading. And a lot of times it's pretty convincing. So, cold reading is actually done by observing body language, being very vague in the information that you are giving, and then switching on a dime to match the responses of the person you're reading for. Uh, Unfortunately, it is also practiced sometimes unknowingly and unfortunately knowingly by people who call themselves professional psychic mediums. It can be done by a developing psychic medium who just doesn't have the skills to know any better. It can also happen in a reading when you lose the link and you're just grasping for evidence and information. And then it can be done really purposely to deceive the person you're reading for. And it'll start out something like this. This is what a cold read will often sound like. I have a male presence. I think he's either a father or a grandfather, or maybe a father figure. And I feel like I'm having pains in my chest. Can anyone take that? Well, that's going to describe a large part of either your audience or just people in general, because it's very vague. So it's designed for someone to go, yeah, that sounds like my dad or my grandpa. But it's not actually a link. And sometimes you're going to hear it even with real psychic mediums as they're kind of warming up into the reading. But the more experience they have, the less often that should happen. So, what an actual evidential reading sounds like is very different. And I'm going to give you an example of that. Okay, I have your dad. He is showing me a red pickup truck, and the number 17. He's also referring to a nickname that you absolutely hated as a child. That's some real evidence, and it gets specific. And so there's not a whole swath of people who can take that, right? So do you see the difference between the two? Because real evidential mediumship is going to bring through pieces of information, and it can be direct messages. A lot of times it'll be symbolism like numbers or names, things like that. Things that really are only for the person we're reading for. So that's how you tell the difference between a cold read and someone who is actually connected and has a link to the spirit. But cold reading is something that happens a lot. And a lot of skeptics out there will say that all psychic mediums do cold reading, that there is no real link. And they're entitled to their opinions. I'm not here to challenge skeptics, because anything I say, they are not going to believe, which is fine, because like I said, not here to challenge you, not here to change your mind. However, I do want those of you out there who either may be someone who would see a medium or psychic, or you're someone who is interested in developing your own abilities, to understand what the difference is. If you've ever watched the live readings that a lot of people do on TikTok, that's just one example. You can see it on Facebook and things like that. You'll see some incredibly good examples of cold reading. Because again, the information, it's going to be vague. It's going to be very broad, and it's going to be designed for a large number of people to be able to accept it. But there's just enough there that you can understand, and your mind automatically wants to apply it to your loved one. So be informed, be aware of what it is. And I can tell you, as someone who does this professionally, one of the reasons I talk about these things is because I am about being honest. I'm also about being ethical, and letting you know that these things exist. We can't deny the reasons why psychic mediumship gets such a bad rap, because there are so many bad actors out there, whether they're doing it intentionally to deceive or not. They just don't know any better. We have to shine a light on that. And that is part of what I do. Is I want to be able to inform, to educate, and I want to work with individuals who are well informed, who do understand. And I also want to prevent people from getting taken by a cold reading, because it can very easily happen. Like I said, they can sound exceptionally convincing. They really can. But it's important that you know the difference, especially if you are going to be working in this world of psychic mediumship, or you are someone who is seeking the expertise of a psychic medium. So that is cold reading. Please be educated, understand what it is, understand the difference between an evidential reading and a cold reading. I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will be back again probably next week with another video. Until then, thank you and take care.